Okay, hopefully I am live. How's everybody doing this evening? Just setting everything up. Let's see here. It looks like I'm on the wrong screen here. Sorry about that. Okay, design. Let me just start over. Had this open. So how's everybody doing this evening? Just give it a few more minutes, let some people come in while I get this all set up. If you guys have any questions at all during this presentation, you guys can just go ahead and type them in below. And Chris, if you're listening, any type of questions, do me a favor, just pop it in to Skype, and then I can relay those over. All right, now, slideshow. Hopefully everybody's doing well this evening. Thank you guys for being a part of the group. Letting everybody come in, and we will start momentarily. Just give it a minute. How's everybody doing this evening? As most of you know, my name is Mark Monroe, and usually I don't talk into camera like this. I'm usually engaging Zoom or teaching people or whatnot. So this is a little different for me. It's a little weird, but we'll see. Hopefully, we'll get some interaction going on here while I go through. So, a couple weeks ago, we posted something in a group asking people what kind of information they wanted. About raising capital, structuring deals, underwriting deals, and one of the biggest, the number one thing is how to find creative seller financing deals. And I know you guys are in a group, you guys are in here looking to buy creative seller financing deals, and which is great. It's a great marketplace, great resource place. I started this group a few years ago to list my own properties, and the thing just took off and kind of it's its own animal. And it's a lot of work. I actually have to have two VAs on here pretty much full time, just kind of keeping this group clean because we get a ton of spam crap, people trying to come in, fake lenders. So we really kind of filter out the lenders. If you want to be a lender in here and you want to promote yourself, make sure you reach out to one of us and make sure you're screened. No offense, but there's a lot of scam lenders out there. And if you guys are trying to look for lenders, be very, very cautious. You guys are posting, hey, I'm looking for a private lender. Be very, very cautious. But, anyways, we'll come back to that in a little bit. So I'm going to just go on, talk to you guys about how I find deals and how I've done stuff. And I've been doing this for many years. And I've built up my bird dog network. That's really where I get my deals. But over the years, I've done many different things. I've done marketing. I work with agents. I love agents. I work with wholesalers. Wholesalers are great, long as they're realistic. Some of these fees are getting a little crazy, which we don't mind paying the fees as long as the numbers work, but sometimes the numbers are not working the best. But anyways, let's kind of get into it. Thank you guys for coming. If you have any questions, just post the comments. So let me go to the next page. So a little bit about me. For most of you guys know, again, my name is Mark Monroe. I started in 1995 at the age of 24 up in the Washington, D.C. area. I started out doing real estate banking. Actually, I went to take this course, want to know a little bit more about loan originating. This instructor worked for Delaware Savings Bank, said, hey, why don't you come work for me? Decided to go work for him. I was there for about a year and about 3 months. Met my two business partners. We went on our own and we started up our own firm. We originally started out as mortgage brokers, but eventually became mortgage lenders. And we ended up having 107 loan officers up in the Baltimore, D.C. area. So we're in Virginia, D.C., Maryland, Delaware, and we eventually got into Pennsylvania. So it's a little bit about my background. What happened was a lot of my clients were investors. I became friends with them, started surrounding myself with like-minded individuals, and started learning how to do a lot of these creative seller financing. Even though I did my first one at 19, I went about 5 years, was in the corporate world, then got into doing it, and then I started really going full force around 1997. I've done, I can't tell you how many type of transactions I've done over the years. It just goes on and on. I mean, multifamily, land development, tons and tons of single families. So that's kind of a little bit about my background. I also have helped people purchase businesses through creative seller financing strategies. We just did a plumbing business not too long ago. That was a seller financing deal as well. We actually got capital back on that deal. What happened on that particular one? It was a husband and wife that own a plumbing business, and they had over 50 employees. They had a ton of assets. Everything, most of their assets were paid off or free and clear, and they wanted 7 million. I structured it, giving them 8 million and $1.5 million down, paying them over 10 years. And they wanted 7 million. We gave them eight. And what we did is we took a loan out against the assets of the business, vehicles and all that, for 2.2 million. The 2.2 we end up giving the seller 1.5 million for theirs. So I do some consulting in the business, but I love real estate. I've had a lot of employees over the years. People were great, but times have changed a lot, and it's just very challenging having great employees in today's world. So I'd rather just keep my business small. I like to travel. If some of you guys seen, you guys seen that I wrote a book called Creative Real Estate Investing, number one bestseller on Amazon. What happened was 2 years ago at this time, my other half's father was sick. We were on Palm Springs, and people kept asking me, "Hey, Mark, over the years, why don't you write a book?" So I wrote a book, and when I published the book, it actually became number one on Amazon for about 9 days. Then after that, people asked me if I had a mentorship program. I really didn't have a mentorship program. I usually JV'd with a couple of people here and there. Kind of that's how I learned the business. But I liked what some of the other coaches out there has created communities. So I'm like, okay, we'll create a community. I don't want it to be huge. I like it small, and that's kind of just easier. So, I have so much bandwidth, but I really am really passionate about real estate investing. So it's a little bit why I end up writing that. And now I do help people some coaching, and I also have a podcast, myself and Gabe, called Real Estate Power Play. Go ahead, you can find it on YouTube. Go to any of your favorite podcast platforms and download it. So it's a little bit about me. As you guys know, I love traveling. That's why I love real estate. The last 2 summers I spent down in Cape Town, South Africa. This summer I traveled a little bit. I was out in Lake Tahoe, Seattle. The Northwest was beautiful. For you guys that live up in that area, it's my first time. I've been up to Vancouver, Alaska before, but this was the first time in the U.S. So it was just stunning. So, anyways, it's a little bit about me, and let's go. As I said, wrote the book. You can get the book on Amazon if you choose to. So it's a little bit about my book. I'm sure you guys seen it everywhere. So okay, let's dive into here. So we're going to talk a little bit about lead generation and finding deals. So the stuff I'm going to go over is some of the basic stuff that you guys all know. Digital advertising, which you always know, SEO, social media. So digital marketing, I actually had a digital marketing advertising agency at one time. We generated a ton of financial leads, like mortgage leads, debt leads, credit leads, reverse mortgage, FHA. We had clients like Quicken Loans, Bank of America, Solar City. So I did have that business at one time. So that was pretty good. So bear with me. Somebody was just sending me a text. And okay, sorry about that. That's Tommy. How you doing, Tommy? So he's watching right now. So Tommy's saying, make sure you guys engage. So if you have questions, dive in there, and I'll be more than happy. So again, digital advertising. If you have the budget, it's a good way to go. Just make sure you understand your KPIs, SEO. There's a company out there called Carrot. For you guys that don't know it, they specialize in creating websites for real estate investors. I think they're about $100 a month, but I know a lot of people that use them, and they're really good at SEO, how they do it. So they usually will take your market. Like I live in Boca Raton, Florida, so they'll create a website and they'll come up with all kinds of words like Boca Raton, Florida, Fort Lauderdale, and surrounding areas. So you get a ton of leads coming in that way. So check out Carrot if you want to. Social media is always good about getting leads. That's how I've gotten a lot of my leads. My attorney tells me I'm crazy. His exact words, he goes, "You're a effing moron." Pardon about that if anybody's listened. I should blank that out, but he said, "You're a moron, if you will," because I put myself out there on social media so much. But anyways, you can do marketing. You can kind of do your blogs. Videos are always great. Trying to get out there. What I'd recommend is each of you guys make sure you have your own web page and have your company web page, and always put some content out there for your local market, whatever your model is. So make sure you do that and put some content out there. I always put a couple of things out there a week, and eventually people in your local market will start kind of coming to you. I have a couple business pages, one for like commercial real estate, one for residential, for sellers and buyers. So I have a few different ones. I have one page for sellers and I have a one page for buyers, but you can do both and have it all in one. And then I also have one for my commercial, because I purchase mobile homes, multifamily, anything like that. So you definitely have pages set up. Direct marketing. Direct marketing. So I'm gonna have a sip of wine, and just had a nice dinner, so I'm gonna have a little wine that's quenching my thirst a little bit. So direct marketing. Direct marketing is it's a cycle where I think direct marketing right now is really good. What I always tell people is whatever the gurus out there are telling you to do, always do something different because everybody's listening to them and all the thousands of followers are going and doing the same thing. Like for a while there, the SMS was big. Oh, let's do SMS. So that was big. So direct mail can work really well, especially if you're in the land world. I know a lot of land buyers where they buy land and they sell through seller financing. That's big. Um, it's very good. Just make sure you. It's really comes down to your list and how you target. And if you want to know more about, if you want to send direct mail, just reach out to me or post something in a group, and I can get you a couple companies that do great direct mail. I've done it before. It's been several years. It worked really well for me. Um, it's good. You just got to make sure you have a budget and you're consistent. And one thing about direct marketing is good is because you can send out pieces and then 6 months, a year later, they end up calling you. So that tends to happen. Um, open houses. Open houses are another great source. If you're out there driving around looking at houses, just start talking to the agent. I love talking to agents, just build rapport. So I treat agents just like sellers. You want to build a rapport, build a relationship. Just be yourself and just start building. That's how you build your relationships in the communities. Many years ago when I was younger, I would hang around some people that I shouldn't have been hanging around, if you will. They're kind of a little bit of a troublemakers, makers, drama, whatever. And I kind of did the book The Secret and pushed 85%, 90% of people out. And I just started surrounding myself with like-minded individuals. So open houses are good. Realtors are amazing. Start building rapport with them. Realtors, instead of always going out there and just always trying to get a new client, they love working with investors because they get to do many deals with those investors. Okay. All right. Again, we talked about social media, Facebook ads, Instagram ads. They're very well. Um, so Facebook ads and Instagram ads, they're good. They're cheap. But the problem with Facebook ads, what I've always noticed, if you run an ad and somebody goes and fills out a lead and it comes to you, Facebook will eventually start showing your competitors. So you'll be fighting for that seller a little bit. So keep that in mind. So just make sure you're unique, you're different, stand out from everybody else, and build a rapport. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but you need to build a rapport, and that's really what it comes down to is really building. And that's the big thing in seller financing is, and I wasn't going to go here on this call, but I think it's important that you guys kind of understand. One of the key things when it comes to seller financing, yes, the numbers, but the number one thing that's the most important thing is you have to understand, you have to treat it. You're going to be in a marriage with these people, whatever the contract's going to be, 3, 5, 7, 10 years. So when you're talking to the sellers, you got to treat it like think of your spouse. You're dating the first time. You're getting to know each other. They're getting to know you to make sure you're going to take care of the property. You're going to do everything you're saying. And I'm interviewing them to make sure they're not a crazy seller. I've had those. So it's all about engaging. So for me, 80% of my phone call with sellers is just building a rapport with them. And then 20% is about the numbers. And I can get into that another time, but some of you guys have listened to calls where, I had a seller not too long ago that wanted $30,000 down, and I just got on the phone. The house was $128,000, and the seller wanted $30,000 down. It just did not make sense putting $30,000 down, and I knew that was what the issue was. So I just got on the phone for about 30 minutes. I'm building rapport with him. I got to know his dog. I got to know his children. I got to know what his football team, what he works. One of the couple of big questions just in conversations, I found out like he's retired. He banks with a credit union. He's got good credit. So I found all that stuff out, and then I started asking what he plans on doing with that capital, the 30,000. He goes, "Oh, I need 25,000 for a camper. I want some spending money." So then I started talking to him. "Oh, a camper? What are you planning on doing with camping?" He goes, "Oh, I'm going to be going camping in West Virginia in the New River, then the Shenandoah Mountains, then up into Virginia, Shenandoah Mountains of Virginia, Tennessee, and Ohio." And I started talking to him about camping, him visualize. I took him there camping, visualizing what's he going to do, hike, kayak. I asked him questions. He's telling me, waking up in the morning, smelling that coffee. And then, so in his mind, he's visualizing. So psychological here too. So he's visualizing him camping, being there. So then I come back to him. I go, "Hey, Robert, you're open to seller financing, and you've been trying to sell this for a couple months." I go, "What seems to be the problem?" He goes, "Everybody keeps offering me a low down payment." And I said, "How many offers have you had?" He said he had about 10 to 15 offers. And I go to him, I go, "Robert, I'm going to be frank with you. Nobody is going to put $30,000 down on a $128,000 home when they can go through a traditional lender, get an investor loan, and put less capital down, and find a property that's a little bit more desirable. The rates will be about the same. But this is what I'll do. I'll put $3,500 down. You mentioned that you bank with a credit union, you got good credit. Go ahead and take a loan out for the camper. And what I'll do is on the 20th of every month, we'll automatically have the payment pulled directly out of our account, sent and make the payment on your behalf. And then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and in the portal, we'll create a Gmail for that particular account. And then whenever there's a notice or payment, it's automatically forwarded to you and forwarded to my bookkeeper. So we got that deal for $3,500, and we're cash flowing $475 a month with the number. So you just got to make sure your numbers work. But that's just an example because I built a rapport with him and I understood and I listened to him. So there's two things I always want to know in seller financing: why are they selling, and what are they planning on doing with that capital? Because if you understand those two things, then that's when you can be creative. So, anyways, I got off topic, but I just want to talk a little bit about that. So, again, Facebook ads, make sure you're standing yourself different. Instagram ads, SEO, we talked about that a little bit earlier. Just making sure you show up. Email marketing is always good, and sending out newsletters, building out like I do newsletters and email marketing for my commercial deals because I have passive investors, so they always get those type of information, that type of stuff sent out. Networking, networking. It is the biggest way how you're going to grow in as becoming a real estate investor is networking. And most of you guys are pretty good at that. Everybody I talk to, that's why everybody's in the seller financing group, is because we're all here to network. And the people that are networking are doing extremely well. Like Matt, he does really well. Ryan, I could go on. John, Brett. There's so many people in there. I see always constantly networking, giving advice, and they're constantly posting homes. So they built up such a network in the community, even outside the community. So networking is key. And I was on a podcast, and somebody asked me a question. He asked me, "What is the number one thing that made what made me? What's the number one thing that makes?" I forget what was that question. What is the number one thing that is different in real estate, or what I learned in real estate? Yeah, that's what it was. What is the number one thing that you learn in real estate? And I said to him, I said, "You know what? The number one thing is your competitors. Most businesses, your competitors, you want to keep your secret sauce so you don't want to share. But in this industry, our competitors are our business partners. Just like I'm talking to you guys. you guys could be my business partners, but at the same time, you're my competitor. There's the one industry where you guys can work together and thrive because the numbers are so big, everybody can make money together. So networking is key. So don't be afraid of it. If you're, especially if you're in another business and you're in a different industry and you're like, oh, I don't want to tell this, because I get it, other industries are like that, but this is, you kind of work together. And yes, you may get somebody that's going to be a snake and snake a deal from you, but if you're genuine and you can kind of feel that out a little bit and go with your gut, if you feel somebody's being a little a little weird, just don't do business with them. It's a small community, and we all find out who's the ones out there that we don't want to work with and who we do want to work with. And especially in this internet world nowadays, it's really easy to kind of create that community. So networking is number one. Referrals from clients, set up a referral program. It's always good. Just whatever, talk to people. Referrals could be, and we're going to get that in a minute, but referrals from past clients. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to a seller and I just given the seller some advice. It just didn't make sense for me to purchase that property because the numbers didn't work, or the seller is facing financial problems, or they're getting ready to for foreclosures and they're not aware of forbearance plans or modification plans. So, also be a consultant, help people out, because even though if you don't help a seller, I mean, even if you don't buy the property from a seller, and if you help them, you'll get referrals. I'm telling you, if you pay it forward, it will come back to you. Sorry about that. Okay. So referrals are huge. Put together a system referral program, send out newsletters, maybe do a video, especially nowadays, you can do video newsletters. Like if you purchase a property through seller financing and you're selling it to somebody like on a lease option or somebody that wants to become a homeowner that can't qualify through a bank, do some type of promotional videos on that. And I can't tell you how great that is. It's like really nice when you're helping a seller out and you're helping a buyer out, and it's a win for everybody. It's a great feeling when you do that. Okay, let's get to the next one. Let's see here. I have no clue what he put there in that top one. Um, so, anyways, let's talk about training bird dogs. Let's spend a little time here on bird dogs because bird dogs for me is how I get most of all my business really nowadays is bird dogs. I built up bird dogs, and if you guys don't know what a bird dog is, it's somebody that refers you deals. And I've been saying it a lot. I've said it in my book. I did a whole entire chapter on this. I teach people this. People are always asking how you get your deals. For me, bird dogs. Bird dogs that people refer. For an example, trashmen. They work the streets. They work the neighborhood. They know the town. They know if a house is sitting empty. They know if somebody's moving out. I've done so many deals with trashmen. Landscapers, snowplow removals. There's a list here that will go on in a little bit, but landscapers, snowplow removals, people that clean pools, um, handyman, contractors, um, and we'll get into it. Look, I think there's a slide here that I go down a whole list, but bird dogs are great. Create a system. Like what I do is I have them download the Zillow app, and if they're in front of a house, they can just take a photo. They can click, the GPS. It shows where they're at. They take a screenshot and they text it to a phone number. Um, I have it going to one of my virtual assistants, my VAs. Then my VA from there takes it, runs with it, starts skip tracing, and then goes through and see if they're open to selling. If they are, then they set up a phone call for me. Then I jump on the phone. They do a lot of it. If you don't have a VA, just have them send it directly to your cell phone, and you can kind of go down that path and work that way. Okay. Um, always staying. Oh, yes, this is key. Always communicate. So, what a lot of times bird dogs will be like, they'll start sending you leads and like, oh, how do I know if you're getting a deal? How do I know if I'm getting paid? So make sure you're constantly communicating with your bird dogs and have a system. Like what I do is I have a CRM so they can technically log in and see what's going on with their deals. That's how I have mine set up. If you don't have a CRM, just communicate and just be in touch with them. Say, hey, this is where we're at. This is this, whatever. Because the more you communicate with your bird dog, the more they're going to keep feeding you deals. If you stop communicating with your bird dog, you'll get the bird dog and then they'll disappear on you. So keep that in mind. Constantly do that. And always monitor. You know, they're just talking about monitoring and adjusting your lead quality. That's more in the lines if you're running marketing ads, know your KPIs. Um, I always want to constantly adjust that. A lot of times when people first start doing out marketing, make sure you have a budget though, because you have to run it for a few months to be able to work it out because it usually takes a little time. If you don't have a budget, then I recommend doing the bird dog. So it depends on where you're at. If you're already a real estate investor and you're doing deals, you can actually add that. So you want to have multiple resources for leads coming in. Okay. We're going to talk a little bit more how to find motivated sellers. We'll talk a little bit again. We talked about handyman, contractors, landscapers. We just talked about that. Now, I what I like to do here, go into local groups, and I don't go into real estate groups. I'll go into groups like for example, garage sales or local communities or something that you have that is a hobby for you. For example, my hobby, I love traveling and food. So I belong in some of those groups. And this has worked for me. I can't tell you how many times over the years. God, I probably purchased easily 30 homes going in this strategy, just going into different groups. You go in there, people get to know you, talk to you, just like in a seller financing group. Um, I did travel groups. I was in a Portugal group for a long time because for expats because people were moving out of the U.S. and going to Portugal because the life you can live like a king there for at the time 22 before COVID $2,200 a month living in Portugal equals a lifestyle of $10,000 a month in the U.S. So I belonged to that group. I've been to Portugal several times. I was going to buy a property because it's so beautiful there. And just when you're in there, I just type in, I'm looking for a property that needs some TLC. I've purchased well over 30 properties over the years just doing that, just going into different groups. I'm looking for a property that needs some TLC. And I can't tell you how many leads you can get in. Don't go into real estate groups. Got to go outside of real estate groups. You will sometimes get some people being a little nasty. Don't worry about it. Oh, you just want to steal our home. Hey, for me and my strategy, I'm willing to give them top dollar as long as they're willing to give me terms. That's why I love seller financing. I don't go in there and beating somebody up. I will give them what the price is as long as they're willing to give me terms because I'm going to make money off depreciation over time as long as my monthly cash flow works. Okay. So Facebook groups are great. And like if you're looking for a handyman or contractors, like you're trying to find a bird dogs, you can go to Craigslist, you can do gigs, you can type in go to Facebook group, type in job descriptions, you can find stuff that way. Oh, Facebook Marketplace. Absolutely. You can find deals in there. I found many deals in Facebook Marketplace. A lot of them are for sale by owners. Yes, you get some realtors. And I also, what I love doing, and I don't know how many people do this, I go into the rental sections. And especially if a market slowed down and people have been trying to sell their home for a while, the market this time in this cycle is a little different. There is starting to be some markets where homes are starting to sit for 50 days. The numbers came out in June that the average home now in the US is sitting on the market for 50 days. So it's starting to level off. But if you can find a market where homes are sitting on there for 3, 4 months, you'll see people will switch it to rental because they're bleeding. So I love going into the rental sections and the realtor, you're paying a 1 month's commission because they're switching it. So you're not paying a 6% or a 3%. You usually pay 1 month on that way. And what I like to do, and I will pay them the 3%, but they're anticipate a lower commission. And what I like to do is when I'm talking to a seller or realtor, would they be willing to rent the property to us for a few years and we'll close on it? And I'll take care of the maintenance and repairs. So I kind of dumb it down. So if they say yes, then I know they're going to be open to some type of creative seller financing strategy. So that's one of the questions I always ask in there, in my questions on that. Local meetups. You can download the app called Meetup. You can go to Bigger Pockets. They have a meetup section there. Here you got Trashmen. Again, you got movers, expired listings. Awesome. Done tons and tons of deals on expired listings. Actually, I had a call tonight at 6 o'clock. My VA found a listing that was expired. We spoke to the seller, and the seller was really upset because the agent overlisted the price. And I went into it. Would you be willing to rent a home? And she's open to it. Built a rapport with her. Just start talking to her, and I kind of pushed her away a little bit, but then she came back. So I like doing the boomerang. I like to throw the seller away, and if they come back, then they're a little bit more intrigued. So that's a great place. Probate. I'm sorry, divorce attorneys. I have several divorce attorneys. Um, Whoops, somebody's calling me. Sorry, people. It's a toll-free number. Wonder what that one is. So, anyways, divorce attorneys. I have several. I have probably, I'd say 20, 25 divorce attorneys that I work with throughout the country that when they try to sell the home, they have the divorce attorney doesn't call me, but one of the spouses usually call me, depending on the situation. So I've done many deals with divorce attorneys over the years. Actually did one not too long ago, but divorce attorneys. Okay, we'll go down the list. Tax liens. You can pull up delinquent taxes through your local county. PropStream. If you guys don't have PropStream, that's a great source. What I can do is I will put a link down below for PropStream later on where you guys can sign up. I think there's a 7-day free trial. A lot of you guys already have it. I love PropStream because it has all the mortgage information, has the seller's information. That's how when I get deals coming in from Bird Dogs, that's what we usually, my VA is in PropStream all the time. So tax liens are great. That means people are delinquent on taxes. Um, so you got Google, home caregivers. I've gotten a lot of deals that way. I had one gentleman, um, I did not last year, but the year before, I did 14 deals with this one guy. I don't know if he works for Medicaid, Medicare, um, but he drives seniors to the doctor's offices and in the pharmacy stuff. So home caregivers are great people because they're with people, helping people out because their family members are tied up doing the regular job. So home caregivers are great. Again, we talked about Facebook group, Craigslist. I've done many, many. I haven't done one in a while, but I would say, God, for probably 3 years, that's where I got a ton of my deals at one time. Where people, Craigslist was really big before Facebook Marketplace really opened up. Craigslist still works. Just gotta be careful because there's scammers on Craigslist. So be careful. Never pay an upfront fee and never give your personal information out without verifying who the people are, especially through Craigslist. You can still find good deals there, but just do your due diligence on it. Okay. Again, talked about direct mail. Okay. My home run deals, my home run bird dog deals, hospice nurses. I get a lot. Those are my best deals because they're laydowns. I don't call them; they call me because they're in with the family. Um, some of you guys might have heard this story. Some of you guys may not. I had one not too long ago up in New England. The daughter it was an elderly couple that was in hospice. I'll just give you a quick this deal. So it was an elderly couple. The daughter called me up, and her parents were in the mid 80s. The father's been in hospice, and their wife or the mother is elderly, so she can't take care of him at night. And the daughter lived over 3 hours away. Um, so it was just too much for them. So the daughter lived 3 hours away, so they had to move in with the daughter because she had to help take care of him at night. So the parents have owned this home for 30 plus years. It was too much for them to get the property ready. So I give a cash offer or a seller financing offer. I always do both on these. And they went with the seller financing offer, 4% interest rate, paying them $991 a month. And how I structured it, because they've owned this home for so long, it was going to take a little bit to clean up. I said, just take what you want, whatever you don't want. I mean, they left cable boxes, modems, holiday decorations, dishes. I mean, they left so much behind. So I structured it with zero down and 2 months with no mortgage payments. Then I brought a auction company in, auctioned off all the belongings, used that money, did some light cosmetics, tacked on $79,000 to the purchase price, sold it to my end buyer. His rate is at 7.75. He's paying me close to $2,300 a month. Out of the $2,300 a month, I'm giving the seller $991 a month, and he put $30,000 down. So you get an idea. That's what's called a wrap. So I purchased. There was no mortgage on it, so straight seller financing, and I took the mortgage with the seller, my equity, wrapped it to my end buyer. So that's what's called a wrap. So if anybody doesn't know that and they want to know a little bit more about that, just reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to explain that. Okay. So hospice nurses are great. Absentee owners are awesome. I like pulling a list through PropStream. Um, I like to find properties that are vacant and that the owners own the property for like 12, 15 years plus. Those are the best ones. Typically, what I found is if it's an investment property and if they've owned it for 5 years or less, 5 to 7 years, they want to sell that property, roll it into a bigger deal. There's really no meat left on that bone. That's what I've always found. Or unless they're in a financial situation. I've gotten those. I've had one just not too long ago where a couple went through a Burr coaching program and they got in over their head and they need more money. They ran out of money. They need another $12,000 and the house has just been sitting there. They've been making payments on it for a year. They called me up and we're taking that one over subject to. Actually, one of my team members, or actually one of my mentees, is taking that one over. So a little bit about that one. Okay, auctions are great. Auctions.com. Um, those you have to be a little bit more creative. Sometimes you can work directly to the bank. A lot of times you have to buy those. If you have capital partners, you can take those down. Rent.com, as I mentioned before, those are awesome. Probate attorneys are really good. You can go through a pull list by probates. A lot of people that was really big for a long time. I would say around 2005, 2007, it was really big. Probate is still big for people that understand it. You just got to know where to find those and kind of pull those, but probates are really good. Do take a little work, but once you understand it, it's a great niche. Zillow. Zillow's awesome. I've done, God, hundreds of deals through Zillow. I have a VA that's all they do is just go through Zillow for sale by owner. They reach out. Those work great. The one I was talking about earlier tonight, that was from Zillow. Apartments.com, another one. Um, Fizbo, for sale by owner.com. There's some websites there. The EMT drivers, non-emergency drivers, that's one I was just talking about a few minutes ago. Online listings, awesome. Quite a few people in the group here that work with realtors and they add fees onto it. It's a great strategy. Realtors are great. You just got to educate your realtor. A lot of realtors don't understand creative seller financing strategies, so you have to educate the realtor. Bandit signs. I've done hundreds of deals off of bandit signs. You just got to be careful of the municipality that you're in. My first deal ever was a bandit sign. I was 19 years old and did Carlton Sheets. I did a piece of cardboard with a waterproof plastic marker. We buy houses, and I was 19 years old, and I put "We buy houses," put it up on a telephone pole, and I was 19, didn't know any better. I got a call from the municipality. You can't put stuff up on the telephone poles. I'm like, I didn't know. But when I went to go back to take them down, what happened was this guy called me up, goes, "Hey, I got this mobile home for sale. I want $18,000 for it. It's worth 21." I'm like, I don't want a mobile home. Calls me back a week later. He goes, "Hey, I got this. Come on, give me $15,000 for this mobile home. It's worth 21." I go, "I'm not interested." Another week or two goes by. Now I'm doing a boomerang now. Another week or two goes by. He calls me back again. "Give me $12,000 for this mobile home. It's worth 21." Well, now I'm thinking, all right, it's 50% almost. So do you, whoops, sorry about that. Somebody's asking me a question here. Um, you're not showing, you're not showing a PowerPoint slide. You're gone. No PowerPoint slide. Can you guys see me at least? Whoops. Sorry about that. I guess I lost my PowerPoint slide. Somebody said, let me go back. Thank you, Chris, for letting me know that. Can you guys see why don't I talk for a minute here? I keep forgetting to go back and forth. All right, so you can see me. That's good. So there's a list here. Let me see if you guys can see this list. Chris, let me know if you can see this list. Can you see that list? Is that list popping up there? Okay. Sorry about that, guys. So I just want to make sure you guys can see that list. Okay, you can see the list, and I'll go back and let you see me for a minute. But here's a list of different things here that you guys can see. I lost my thought process. Oh, I was explaining I was explaining a little bit about my deal where this guy, I did a bandit sign, put up on a telephone pole. The guy called me back several times. The last time he called me, a month goes by, and he says, "Hey, give me $6,000 for this mobile home. It's worth 21." Now I knew I was going to buy it, but I kept doing a boomerang like, why are you trying to sell this? He goes, "Oh, I don't live in it. I have lot rent due because it was in a mobile home park." I go, "I'm not interested in a mobile home, but this is what I do. Since you're going to get rid of it so bad, I'll give you $3,000." She goes, "Oh, give me 4,000." I'm like, "I told you I'm not interested in a mobile home." So they came back, and I ended up giving. He goes, "All right, I'll take the $3,000." So I told him, "Okay, this is what I got to do. I have to get a contract." We didn't really have the internet then, so as the way it is now, so I had to go to like an office store to get a contract. I said, "I have to get a contract. I want to do a walkthrough, check it out, make sure it looks good." Hung up the phone, put an ad in the newspaper. Uh, in the back of the paper, mobile home for sale. What was it? Owner financing mobile home for sale for $25,000 with $3,000 down. So this couple called me up. They went out and looked at it. They loved it. Gave me a cashier's check for $3,000. I took that $3,000, ended up giving it to the seller. The seller got his $3,000, and then the difference, I created a note for like 7 years, around like 7.5. It was $300 a month. So that's how I ended up creating that note. So Chris keeps, let's see here. No PowerPoint slide. Yeah, I know, Chris. I'm talking right now, so I'll come back to it in a second. Thank you, Chris, so much. So, anyways, I'm just telling you a little bit of the story how I did my first deal. That was 19. So it was like $300 a month. That was a lot of money. That was my car payment and insurance payment. But then I got into the corporate world for a little bit. So let me go back to the PowerPoint slide. You can kind of get an idea of some other things here. Um, Property managers are awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Love property managers. Just connected with one that has 155 clients, and we end up getting a ton of offers out. We locked up, I want to say 7 of them in 1 week, and we sold 2 of them. And he's already got the clients. So I love property managers, and they're great. They're knowledgeable. They got boots on the ground. Foreclosure listings are always awesome. Um, Now, with foreclosure listings, you try to find out who the attorney is in the area, and you can try to build a relationship with the attorney. Some of them also will list their foreclosures on their website. So do a little research in the community wherever you guys are looking for deals. That's another place to go. Code violations. Code violations are great. Um, Water. When somebody shuts the water off, that's a good one because why is the water shut off? That means the house is probably vacant or something's going on there. Um, Overgrown grass violation. Actually, I sold a property. Now I'm thinking about it. I sold the property on seller financing, and I guess they had a code violation because the grass is not getting green cut. So I'm like, okay. So I'm offering them. They're having some issues, so I'm offering agreement or cash for keys back on that one. So so keep that in mind. When you drive around, you see high grass. Let's see what else. Code violations. Houses run down, trash, whatever. So code violations are really, really good sources through your local communities. So a lot of these that I'm giving you were old ones that we used to do back in the day. They were very big. A lot of people are not doing them as much anymore. A few people are. Some of these like code violations, foreclosure listings, bandit signs, you still see some here and there. Just, again, bandit signs, be very, very cautious because some towns have an issue with that. Um, this weekend coming up is one of the best weekends to put bandit signs out because what happens is the town is usually off for a long holiday weekend. And so your sign gets to stay out there longer. So what I like to do is let's say I would put it up like on a Friday late afternoon, and it'll stay up there until like Tuesday before the code comes around and starts taking it down. Thanksgiving, holiday weekends are great. And then if you want, you can go take it down. Sometimes they can leave them up. Whenever you put bandit signs up, make sure you put it up in an area where it's getting a lot of traffic, and make sure that your sign, your phone number, don't have a lot of crap on there, like where it's hard to read. Just have it simple. We buy houses and your phone number. Don't put like all this stuff because it's hard to read. How many times have you guys driven around? Next time you drive around, just look at signs and get an idea what signs work really well. Okay. Whoops, sorry. Okay. So that's some of my resources. And then a little bit, that's some of my resources. So any questions? Uh, let's see. in here. Chris, do you have, is there any questions in there? Where am I? Here's the screen. You can kind of get an idea on it. I don't have the Facebook in front of me, so let me see if there's any questions here. Let me pop up to that group. But anyways, this should have been good and easy for you all on that. What did I do? Hopefully I didn't disappear. Here I am here. All right. So anyways, that's some of my tips where I find deals. And also wholesalers are always good and realtors. Realtors, one of the realtors, what I like doing is I like to find realtors that do what's called BPO, a broker opinion. So what happens is before a bank or a lender forecloses, they always order a BPO to a local realtor. Try to find that local realtor in your community because that means that property is getting ready to go to foreclosure. So try to work something out with a realtor. So BPO, BPO it's called, uh, broker's opinion on what the property is, and they're pretty cheap. They're about $100, and it just gives them an opinion what the property is, and they just do drive-by and stuff like that. So keep that in mind. They're great ones to work with, and you're going to see more of that possibly coming up. It depends on what happens with the rate. If they lower the rate, we're going to start seeing some buyers on the sidelines coming out. So it may create a little bit more of a supply inventory. So some of these homes will start moving again. Um, I want to talk about one other thing real quick for people that are new, that are struggling. And usually where they're struggling is because not picking up the phone. And I want to talk a little bit about that for a second. So you want to pick up the phone. Picking up the phone is what's going to make you money. So if you're one of these people like that, you get nervous picking up the phone call, making calls, what I recommend is go into Zillow, go into for sale by owner, and call an area outside your area that you're going to work. So if you screw up and you mess up, who cares? It's like spring training. You practice. Just start practicing. Get on there. Just start talking to sellers. Start building rapport with them. Start asking questions like, "Hey, it sounds like a nice home. Why are you selling?" They're going to tell you a little bit what's going on, and that's going to tell you like why they're selling. And then I love that question. Would you be willing to rent the property to us for a few years and we close on it? I'll take care of the maintenance or repairs. So if they say yes, then you know they're open to terms. And then I love like if you can't sell the property, what are you gonna do? If you can't sell the home, what are you gonna do? And I shut up. Well, I'm gonna rent it. Well, ding ding ding, or reach out to me. You don't have to worry about any of the maintenance and repairs. Then at that time, I know they're going to be open to some type of creative seller financing terms. So again, one of the biggest things is making sure that you pick up the phone and make calls. Make calls, make calls. What and if you have a problem trying to make calls, what you can do is go to Calendly and get a calendar link and communicate through somebody through text message or through social media, whatever your source is saying, hey, you know what? Here's my link. Select the time that works best for you. So it will force you to be and make calls. So it will force you. But just get on the phone. You're behind a screen. Start talking to people. Warm up. And eventually, I mean, I can't tell you. I've had a couple people like come into my mentorship program and they don't want to pick up the phone and they want to do everything that way. I'm like, you got to get on the phone. You got to build a rapport with these people. That's where the money's made. Is you want to get on the phone and build a rapport with them. That's like the biggest thing. So, again, that's pretty much about it. And I do have a mentorship program. If you guys want to know a little bit more about it, you can reach out to me, or if you want to purchase the book, you can just go to my website here and kind of do a little research. But the mentorship program, again, I originally didn't want to do it, but I decided to do it because I want a small community and we're all doing deals together. People are doing deals with zero down to very little, and they're all doing deals together. I have some capital people in the group that are always wanting to put deals in the capital. And yeah, we actually just closed, not within this group, there's a couple members in the group, but as you guys see, we just closed on a, a mobile home park portfolio deal, 4 mobile home parks in one in the South Carolina area. So, and once you understand these type of seller financing strategies, you can do them for commercial. I usually will teach people under residential, and the reason why residential is a little easier to teach. But get out there, find these deals. work with some wholesalers or work with some other investors and kind of partner up with if you don't have the capital, or find a mentor. But just the big thing is just get on the phone, make calls. I gave you a ton of ways to be able to find leads. Find a couple in there that you feel comfortable, a couple niches. And if you work direct to sell, that's where you're going to get the best deals, and that's where you're going to get the very little as possible down. I mean, I've done many deals with zero down, 13 units zero down, the one I just explained a little while ago. So, anyways, thank you guys. If you guys have any questions, just leave it below and I'll be more than happy to answer those. If you guys are listening to this video later on, just pop any questions down there. Be more than happy to answer them, or you can set up a call. Just say, hey, I'd like to jump on a phone call and I'll send you a link and we can book a link from there. So, everybody, thank you guys so much. And thank you guys for being a part of the seller financing community. You guys have done great. It's amazing what you guys have done, and I want you guys to make a lot of money out there. So, if there's anything that you need or anything that you think that can make the community a little bit better, or if you want me to do another live stream for something different that may help you out, just leave me a message on below and I'd be more than happy. And also, if you see posts on there that looks like scams, please flag them so one of the members of the team can get rid of those ASAP. So be well, be safe, and thank you guys so much. Good luck.